Beanz, and today we're talking about the Olympics, and it's one of the few events where I'm like, yeah, I'm American and proud and whatnot.
Mm.
And but lately, I'm not so proud. I don't know. You'd think people being awesome and kicking ass in sports would like bring people together, but it
Empower
seems like everyone
people.
just wants something to be mad about. That's what I've noticed about everything, whether it's football, whether it's music, whether it's movies. Everything always has to be some like type of issue that really nobody cares about. You know?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the "why aren't we winning" memes, and it's like, why would we be? First of all, why would we be? Second, well, not like why would we be, but like why wouldn't other countries be winning and have a shot at winning as well?
Yeah, maybe because they're not so focused on culture war shit. Maybe they're actually focused on actually skills and winning and everything in this country. And it's like, who wants to compete with for us on behalf of us when the ones who win always get shit on? Like Katie Ledecky, like LeBron James, even, and he's a legend. He's been playing basketball for how many years? He's getting shit on. There was like controversy around him holding the American flag. Like he shouldn't. They didn't want him holding the flag in the ceremony.
I honestly, I never learn about these things. I never know. I would have never even known about any of the things going on in like the sports world, the sports sphere, whatever you want to call it.
And you know why? Because everything's always controversy. It's not about the sports anymore. It's not about, like, most people when I brought up the Olympics, they're like, yeah, I'm not really watching, but I heard about this, or I heard about that. Like, they hear about the negative thing.
That seems to be, what I've noticed as being someone who's like, I won't say I'm anti-sports. I'll say that I joke that I'm like allergic to sports. But I've noticed that those very sport people are like, can be very, what's the word? Toxic. Have you noticed that? Like, diehard fans.
Oh yeah, they can be, because like think about how many, especially men, how when their football team loses, they kick the wall, they get angry, they even like soccer too. Just like whatever sport, they get really mad that their team isn't winning, and it's like, you're not on the team. What the fuck do you care?
Poor emotion.
Because it's all about competition, really. It's just that's all they care about is their team winning. The energy has been taken towards the Olympics now, and specifically some of the women in there. Like, there's another controversy around a female boxer from Algeria named Imane, and because she doesn't look feminine enough, because she was hitting too hard, they are like, oh, you're a man. She's a man. She's not really. That's a man right there fighting her, and the entire world. That's all. Even like regular people I meet with, I know on a daily basis, like coworkers, even people just throughout my day. That's all they've been bringing up is this woman, and saying that she's not a woman. I have proof. Like, what proof do you have? Like her dad. What's so sad is her dad had to come on and be like, yeah, this is my daughter's first birth certificate. She's born a woman.
And it's like, how weird, like how like almost pretty dystopian concept when you think about it, that it like, like I feel like when you hear about stories like that, they obviously like sensationalize them, and it's just like entertainment. Like every other Snapchat news article in the sportosphere is like talking about this. But it's like, what about how she feels, like as a human being, as a person who's like going through this? Like that's what I keep thinking about, and I'm like, damn, like that's got to be so hard.
Like, can you imagine you worked your whole life for this sport and you got to the highest level being the Olympics, and everybody was just like, well, you hit way too hard in a combat sport.
I was like, you kicked ass, and people are like, you hurt her, you hit her, oh my god, you man. And it's like, that is just so not what's going on. It's literally a woman being successful in a sport, and that being popular. Like, it could be being popular for a good reason, like her being a boss ass, who won basically. But instead, the narrative is just like, this man beat this woman, and it's like, that's not.
Because why some unhinged men decided she doesn't look womanly, feminine enough, or doesn't look like what they should consider a woman, and this has been thrown at mostly black women or women of color for generations now. Michelle Obama, Serena Williams, this Venus Williams, anyone who like basically black women or people of color, because they don't look like feminine enough.
Well, I think, and also standards. We're using the word feminine, but I do think it's important to acknowledge that a lot of people equate feminism with like, or not feminism like the movement, but like femininity, I mean, with looking white, like having European features.
Yes.
So I do think it is usually when someone is like, look, do you really believe that's a woman or whatever? It is someone who is non-white. Like the first time I ever heard it, like I remember being young and hearing things about Michelle Obama.
Yes, I remember because we grew up with her
Yeah.
as our vice president. Not
Yeah.
vice
And
president,
that was
first,
her
first
summer.
lady.
What?
And
Like,
I thought she was
no.
always a very respectful person. She was always, I see her as like
Yeah,
like a
she's very
wonderful,
well-mannered.
smart. She's eloquent, like her husband.
Yeah.
Both of the Obamas are very, say what you want about their politics, it's fine. But in terms of who they are as people, they are very genuine and kind, and like the way they speak, and they speak with like eloquency.
Yeah.
And because she does not look like, Melania Trump, or look like, one of these Fox News pundits that look very dolled up and whatever, that she doesn't look a woman, she doesn't look like a woman enough for them because they can't sexualize her. That's it. That is literally the one and only thing that makes these people, like...
Yeah. Well, no one likes the mirror to be turned onto them, right? So nobody likes, like, they don't like that someone like Michelle is, like, kind of proving them wrong about how you should treat women in, like, the public eye, however you want to put it.
It's just so stupid that people want to keep focusing on gender and on race, on stupid shit, and it's like, we're never going to get far in society if that's the only thing we have to... It's like, what is this supposed to do? Is it supposed to scare people? Is this supposed to be a scare tactic to stop women from playing in women's sports? It's like, when the fuck has anyone cared about women's sports? Let's be real.
I think the other side of our whole argument, people arguing that they shouldn't compete, they do, the one thing they have, like, under their belt of the argument is women's safety. Like, being concerned with women's safety, right? But you're not really concerned with women's safety when you're going around saying and starting to, like now it becomes like a witch hunt, where it's like, you're not even a woman, and you're not a woman, and you're not, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel good to point your finger at someone and tell them that they're not a woman. Like, now, like, cis women should be aligning even more with trans women, in my opinion, because of all this. Because it's like, oh, we actually both don't like this feeling. Like, we're both being treated like this. We're both being treated badly because, one, we're women. Like, we're both being treated this way because we're women. But we're also being treated that way, there's other levels to it, obviously, that are different. But it's like, me, as a cis woman, I don't like living in a world like that, where now the finger's being pointed and people are having to prove that they are, in fact, a woman, because we all know what that leads to.
Yeah, because it's going to be like women who... there's a lot of women who look either more masculine, or they don't wear makeup enough, or like... And it can be it's going to start being like anyone who isn't a white person.
And that goes back to that, yeah, like, I do feel like the more white you look and the more you have certain European or whatever the fuck, like, those kind of features, you're not going to get the finger pointed at you as much as someone who is Samoan and, like, happens to be bigger, or just has certain features that other
even
people
like Latina or black, or like, just, if you don't look feminine enough, you're going to get the finger pointed at you.
Yeah, and I've always felt that, like, that's the atmosphere lately when it comes to, like, do you remember the whole time, back when, like, the whole issue with the bathrooms?
Yeah, that was, like, when we were, like, probably in high school, yeah.
Yes, like, I feel like ever since then, there's been, like, a pressure, there's been, like, people being like, are you a woman? What do you have? It's basically like, what do you have in your pants? And it feels like such a weird question to ask someone, like, it's basically what you're asking someone when you're like, are you a boy or a girl? Like, what are you? It's just like, do you have a beep or a beep beep, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you have...
Why does my genitalia matter so much to you? And also, why do you care it's a bathroom? What do you think people in the bathroom are going to go to the bathroom? That's what they're there for. And it's like weird that people have like they're running to bathrooms with cameras. They're like, this doesn't look like a man. They're in the women's bathroom, or they look like a man. Or like
over the stall at the other.
It's weird. It's weird. It's weird behavior. It's reactionary behavior. It's causing unnecessary hysteria and like making people feel uncomfortable. And what it's going to happen is just going to be innocent people who like Imane or just any of these women who are just like, they just point to it like, that's not a woman. Let's throw her in jail.
You have to put yourself in the shoes of someone going through it, and I think that that's very hard for a lot of people to do. A lot of people take their kind of like the ability that they have to pass, basically. It's like, you're a man and you look like a man. It's like you're passing as a cis man. Like, people don't understand like the privilege that kind of comes with that. So then, like, if you could really put yourself in their shoes, it's really a matter of, like, imagine you're walking into a bathroom one day, like, you really have to go, and you're going into this public bathroom, and someone's stopping you and saying, like, hey, like, you can't come in here. Like, you don't look like a woman. You don't, sound like a woman. Or, like, whatever they could use to justify it. You could have, like, one of those awkward bulges in your pants, like when you buy cheap jeans, and someone could be like, hey, you're a man, and like just any little thing to like just keep you from using the restroom or making you have to use the men's restroom when you identify other or whatever it is. It's like, it's a super weird thing to do to someone. Like, we could just let people use the bathroom. and not.
Well, now that Harris picked this Governor Tim from Walz from Minnesota, he was actually one of the few good governors that he passed like to allow women's menstrual products in bathrooms at the schools. And now the biggest attack from people on the right is that he's a pedo. He's putting menstrual products in men's rooms, and he's like expanding like gender affirming care. Like he's this horrible person who's just being like, people should have rights. That's all he cares. And he's not even like.
Too is that people get gender affirming care for other reasons. Like it's not just.
But doesn't plastic surgery count as gender affirming care? Like if you get like your breasts done, if you get your nose done, if you get your other parts done.
You don't realize that when you start to believe this red pill, Republican bullshit. I'm sorry, but you do start to be out of touch with reality. And in reality, normal, what you call it, normal or cis, people get gender affirming care. Like when they have to remove your breasts if you get breast cancer. You know what I mean? Like for them to rebuild and do stuff like that. Like you're gonna judge someone for doing that, but it's just it's care. It's helping people. It's making them feel better in their bodies, regardless of the reason. Whether you believe in.
Notice this all started from like people's mass hysteria over nothing. Over drag queens, over
problem out of something that's
people who aren't even, or not even. They're just such a small portion of this country. Like they're not even affecting anything. And then all these same people are trying to advocate for like no-fault divorce, trying to keep people together in abusive relationships. It's like, how much do you really care about women's rights and women's protection and women's security?
None of these people, and they all go, why didn't she just leave? After they took away most of her rights that would make leaving a lot easier. Like that's what people don't realize.
And anyone who's like attacking Imane Khleif and going after her and being like, it's a combat sport. First of all, it's boxing. If it was like ballet and she was beating someone up, I'd get it, but it's like, then why are you in boxing? Like I think people just expect women to be like women could hit. Like I think women should hit more. I think that should be inspiring women more to go out there and become boxers. Like her story is actually more of a success story because she said she used to be bullied, and that's where she got her boxing start from. And that's where she started. That's why she is who she is now.
Yeah, and then basically imagine people trying to attack you for like the shit you're good at, the shit you enjoy doing. Like she probably found or gained a lot of confidence and self-esteem through boxing and being as good at it as she clearly is.
Yep.
So for someone to build up her confidence doing that, I want to be like, she's not hurting anyone. I mean, like, she is technically hurting people, but it's part of the sport. So, like, it's how you're...
Yeah, and meanwhile, this other girl from Italy just...
Why did she just get hit and then the fight was over? Like, I'm like, that's not how boxing matches work, girl. Like, who told you it's over after you get hit once? Like, she didn't like how hard she was hit, so she made a big deal about it, I guess, and then made some comments about her gender or something.
And now it's something, of course, because of this incident, now it's translating to the rest, the mass hysteria again. Let's protect women in general. How about, let's do that. And protect women from men every day who attack the women on the subway, attack women in the streets, attack women every day. It's like, why do you only care when it's when it's like a trans person, or when it's a woman that just looks more masculine in a sport already that is combat sport?
Yeah.
Why is this only around when it like when you feel like it? It's weird.
I agree. No, it's very performative. It's very like, oh yes, this is just this one, this time where this happened and it's on camera and all the people were here, and so people feel compelled to have some kind of like, they're just reacting though. Yeah, it's like just a reaction to it that's like, just, I don't know, wildly inappropriate.
It's weird. It's like, what? But you sound like a crazy person when you're like, what kind of genitalia you have? I know she was born with XY chromosomes or whatever. I know. How do you know? Like, it's so weird. It's like, why the fuck do you care so much? And even if she was, why does that bother you? Like, what is...
It makes me think about, like, intersex people. Like, that was something I learned about growing up, that, like, you kind of... The first time you learn about it is almost like a fever dream, in all honesty, because you're just like, no, there's, like, no way that's real. And, like, all my life I've been told that there's just men and women, and there's just men and women, and that's it. But the reality is, it is not just men and women, Just like with sexuality. It's like, whatever, you're either gay or you're straight. But it's like, no, there's bisexuals. No, there's pansexuals. No, there's, the one I always forget about, asexual, thank you. I'm sorry. But, it's like, there's all these different ways that people fit in. It's a spectrum, it's fluid, whatever you want to call it. it's this binary doesn't actually exist, you know? And then the binary is what people use to say, like, men are like this and girls are like this, or women are like this. And it's not. To me,
and what I don't understand, it's like, if okay, you're allowed, you can be whatever you want. If you want to be straight and have a bunch of kids, well, I don't know why people can't just mind their own business and why our society has to revolve around you.
Why does everybody have to be straight and like, oh, at this age you should be married by now? And it's like, but maybe some people don't want to get married.
And it's like, I come from a family that where many people in my family got divorced because they followed that same exact path. They were like, oh, I need to be married, I need to have kids, I need to buy a house by this age. And you know what? What happens to those people? They get divorced because they rushed quickly to do something just because everyone else around them was telling them to do it.
And you know what's crazy that I've said to people, and they've told me that I'm crazy, and I'm just going to put it out there now because I'm unhinged and I don't care anymore. I've told people, like, I've been like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I've been thinking lately, maybe I'll get married, like, someday, maybe. And they'll be like, wow, oh my god. And they'll be talking about, like, oh, my forever after, my this ever after. And I turned to them and I was like, just so you know, like, I'm the type of person where, like, I don't see a marriage ending as a failure. Like, a marriage technically ends when one person dies. That's not a failure. It's just like, you were married for 10 years to this person, and then you could not be married to them anymore, and you could get married to someone else. People do it often. Like, it happens. You have a second or third wife or husband or whatever. Like, it's kind of normal now. So, my only thing that I would say to people is, like, you know, oh yeah, I'd turn to them and be like, yeah, maybe I'll be married for 10 years or something, haha, and, like, as a joke. And they'd be so wildly like, whoa, like, that's not, you can't say that.
But so on top of that, you know what it's turning into? It's turning into also not only a gender issue, but a race issue. Like, I don't know, I know you're so good at keep staying out of things, but a lot of it is, I think more people should be paying attention to it because it's going to happen to us too. In the UK, there's currently a lot of riots right now.
Like, I have been hearing about that, yeah.
Like, it's unfortunate what happened to those little girls. I feel like that should never happen. But like, the fact that sparked, that was like kind of the tipping point for all these like radical right-wingers to start protesting and beat stores and beat up police and do whatever they want because they're white. And it's weird.
Yeah, why is the media never call them thugs? I just want them to call them thugs one time. A group of white guys toting around.
But you know what they're doing? They're saying, oh, this is right because immigrants are killing our kids. And it's the narrative that they've been trying to spin for years, is anyone who does not look white is going to hurt your kids. And it's innocent people going to be hurt by this because you look at somebody, they could be Asian or black or Hispanic or Indian or whatever, and you point to them and you don't know if they're an immigrant or not. And you're just attacking them because you think they are. Why are we connecting Imane Khleif and all these issues going on in the Olympics? Because it's terrifying, because that's how it starts. That's how fascism starts. Instead of them saying, "Oh, this has happened because of price gouging," because a lot of all these companies are raising prices and pricing people out of their homes and buying up properties, which is jacking up price of rent and everything else. Which I know that, but somebody who doesn't pay attention to the news, someone who isn't as intact, is thinking, "Oh, it's a trans person over there. It's the black person over there. It's immigrants." In general, like, all these groups are being grouped together as like the bad people. Those people that aren't white, aren't straight, are coming for you and your family and your money and your job, and it's working because a lot of people are dumb and think that, oh yeah, it's because of those people, yes,
yeah,
and that's why they start turning into mobs. That's why they become fascists. That's why they become white supremacists. That's why they become Nazis, and that's why it happens. It doesn't just happen because they feel like it happens because of things like this, like recession.
Yeah. It's not overnight. It's years upon years.
And it's happening here too. It's going to happen just like what's happening in the UK right now is about to happen here too. And then it's maybe in the next few years, and not even. It's
just like funny to me that all this could be going on, and a lot of people are aware about it and talking about it. A lot of people aren't. But when you even use the word like oppression, for example, people have a guttural reaction to it, and people will often react very negatively towards it, and kind of turn it on you and be like, It's like the whole bootstraps argument is.
Yeah, I gotta pick yourself up by the bootstraps.
Bootstraps is the same as like trickle-down economics. They don't work. There's actually nothing. There's no straps that are on boots. They don't have bootstraps. It was an expression that was designed to be ironic. Like, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, but like, there's no straps. And also, for some people, there's no boots. So
yeah,
like, what are you?
Some people already have boots that were given to them.
Some people have, like, 15 boots that were given to them or bought for them or whatever. Like, and it's like, I don't know, like, I just keep thinking about the scene from, was it Bug's Life? Yeah, I think it was Bug's Life. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
With all the acorns or whatever they were?
Yeah,
It's
like
like,
all those, they had to collect all those seeds and stuff and berries.
yeah. And then they were just like giving it to them. Like that's how I see the government. I feel like kind of.
No, that was literally
always made me
like a
afraid
kind
of
of a dig at our government, just being like, look at all this work we're doing, just because some people that we're told we're trying to protect you, but we're trying to protect you in exchange for your protection from the worst, from like other enemies like birds and whatever. Which that's another, like, what do you call it, like euphemism for like other people in other countries, or trying to protect you from other countries. But what you have to do is work and use your tax money to fund this. So it makes sense.
Yeah. It's just like, so, I don't know. We're living in the Handmaid's Tale or whatever that show
Oh,
is.
and you know what's interesting is I saw somebody who was teaching in Japan, and they were like, it's so interesting the amount of people that come to Japan, and they're like, and they think it's like this haven of awesomeness, and like, why do, and especially Americans. And it's like, why? And they're like, the reason why is because they have healthcare, all basic needs, basic healthcare. They have universal healthcare. They have good schools. They have, it's health. Most of the food is tasty and healthy. Most of, like, they have access to better things, efficient transportation systems. And it's like, that's bare minimum society shit. And the fact that so many people look at Japan and think of that, and then she's like, on the flip side, Japan has some of the worst sexism, racism, is kind of fascist a little bit, and like that never really went away from like World War II, and they're still like that. But people think Japan's better because they have those things. They have like all those resources that we don't have.
I feel like it does have that underbelly, and I've been reading and like hearing about that more.
So it's like just basic manners and basic things that everyone should just know. Is like, it's like in Japan, it's seen as like a safe haven. It's like this haven of like freedom and shit, and it's really not. It's really no better than here.
Really, they just have manners over there. Is what it sounds like. It's like
basic. They believe in basic human rights.
Yeah, it's a basic human decency to like find a wallet on the ground and like, not, you look through it to find the license or something to identify the person maybe, and then you either go there, give it to the cops, and you don't like take their money out. Like, I feel like that's, bare minimum of like being a good person, and then if you do anything else, you're a piece of shit.